The Warcraft movie takes us into the fantastical world of Azeroth, where a long-standing conflict between humans and orcs has ravaged the land. The story goes that throughout the history of Middle-earth, humans and orcs have engaged in an enduring conflict. Durotan assumes the role of chieftain for his Frostwolf orc clan. However, he yearns to break free from the cycle of warfare, especially with the imminent arrival of his and his wife Draka's first child. The orc clans unite to form a powerful force called the Horde. Their homeland, Draenor, is facing imminent destruction, so the malevolent orc warlock Gul'dan devises a plan to lead the Horde into the realm of Azeroth. Gul'dan employs a sinister type of magic called Fel, which draws its power from death. He has imprisoned numerous Draenei captives and brings them to a location called the Gate. Among the prisoners is Garona, who is part human and part orc. As she passes the captives, one prisoner pleads with her to spare her child, but she cannot do so. Gul'dan drains the life force from the Draenei, using their energy to open a portal to Azeroth. The orcs charge through the portal, but one orc, named Draka, conceals her pregnancy. Upon their arrival in Azeroth, Draka begins to experience pain. The other orcs discover her condition and criticize Durotan, her mate, for allowing her to pass through in such a state. Draka goes into labor, and Gul'dan intervenes. Despite the baby being stillborn, Gul'dan uses the life force of a nearby deer to revive the child. He presents Durotan's son to the Horde as a new warrior. In simpler terms, the orc clans unite as the Horde and decide to invade the land of Azeroth due to their own homeland being in danger. Commander Anduin Lothar is in Ironforge, where he has a meeting with King Magni Bronzebeard. During the meeting, King Magni gives Lothar a powerful weapon called a boomstick. Shortly after, Lothar receives a summons to the Kingdom of Stormwind due to a garrison being assaulted. Lothar travels to Stormwind and encounters a mage named Khadgar. Khadgar has been discovered examining the deceased bodies and discovers that one of the bodies emits green smoke from the mouth, indicating that the person was killed using dark fel magic. Together, Lothar and Khadgar approach King Lane Rin. Lothar reunites with his son Callan and his sister Queen Teria, who is the king's wife. Upon realizing the threat, the king assigns them a task to meet with the guardian Medivh in Karazhan. Lothar discover Medivh sculpting a massive golem using clay. While Lothar fills Medivh in on the situation, Khadgar explores Medivh's library and notices a mysterious dark figure lurking there. The presence of this figure captivates Khadgar's attention, and he feels drawn towards a specific book. Just as Khadgar reaches for the book, Medivh suddenly appears and immobilizes Khadgar against the wall using his magical powers, and releasing him after mentioning the spell called Fel. They teleported to Stormwind and King Lane welcomed them. They had a conversation regarding the situation concerning the attacks carried out by certain creatures. Medivh joins Lothar and Khadgar as they accompany a scouting team into the forest to investigate the sinister fel magic. Their group is suddenly ambushed by a pack of orcs, resulting in a brutal confrontation where the orcs overpower the humans, although Lothar manages to defeat several of them. Medivh uses a spell that kills the green-skinned orcs, but has no effect on Durotan, his friend Orgrim Doomhammer, or the aggressive Blackhand. Blackhand attempts to attack Lothar, but Lothar shoots off Blackhand's hand using his powerful boomstick weapon. The surviving orcs retreat, and Durotan, riding on a horse, passes by Garona, who is still held captive. Durotan swings his axe to break Garona's chains and set her free. However, Khadgar uses his magic to restrain Garona, leading to her capture by the humans. Garona is taken to King Lane's castle, where she describes her origins and reveals that her homeland is not depicted on the map of Azeroth. She warns that the orc army is advancing toward this realm. Despite being imprisoned, Garona receives nourishment and care from Queen Teria, who is both Lane's wife and Lothar's sister. Garona contemplates the idea of assassinating Teria to gain respect among the orcs, but Teria asserts that honor would not be a part of her people's actions. Facing Gul'dan, Blackhand receives a reprimand for his perceived weakness in fleeing from the humans and allowing his troops to perish. Gul'dan accuses Blackhand of feebleness and attempts to condemn him to death. However, Durotan steps in and interrupts, asserting that Medivh was the one manipulating the fel magic against them. Durotan contradicts Gul'dan's assertion that only he possesses control over the fel. Durotan and Orgrim find themselves side by side, watching over the orc encampments. Durotan holds the belief that Gul'dan's use of dark magic is responsible for the deterioration of Draenor, and he fears that if Gul'dan persists, Azeroth will face a similar fate. Durotan strongly desires to put an end to Gul'dan's actions. Lane releases Garona from captivity, but with the stipulation that she pledges her loyalty to Stormwind. Garona, Lothar, and Khadgar spy on the gate. They learn about the Orc invasion plans. Lothar meets King Lane, while Garona and Khadgar encounter Durotan, who wants to meet the human chieftain. Other races in Azeroth are hesitant to help. Garona delivers Durotan's message. King Lane realizes Durotan's genuine fear and seeks assistance. Tariat provides her with a small dagger for self-defense. In Khadgar's room, the Guardian dismisses and destroys all of Khadgar's research on the Fel, claiming that he will handle the matter personally and doesn't require Khadgar's assistance. However, Khadgar manages to conceal one of his research papers in his robe, which escapes Mediva's destruction. The remaining clue mentions a dark portal and the name Ality. Garona is entrusted with guiding Lane, Lothar, and the rest of Lane's forces, which include Lothar's son Callan, to a gathering with the Frostwolf clan. The Orcs and humans assemble for negotiations, seeking to establish a temporary peace to unite against their common enemy, Gul'dan. Durotan steps forward to speak, with Garona translating for Lane and Lothar. However, their meeting is suddenly disrupted by a treacherous ambush carried out by Gul'dan's loyal Green Orcs, led by Blackhand and his allies. A fierce battle ensues between the malevolent Orcs and the humans, including Durotan and his clan. In an attempt to protect the humans, Mediv employs his magic to create a barrier that separates them from the Orcs. Unfortunately, Lothar finds himself trapped on the protected side of the barrier, unable to escape or pull his son, Callan, to safety. Seizing the opportunity, Blackhand, now equipped with a new claw hand, impales Callan and callously hurls his lifeless body towards his father. Mediva's condition deteriorates, and he is taken to his residence and placed within his mana pool. Khadgar notices Mediva's eyes emitting a green glow, a sign of being tainted by the Fel magic. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Khadgar departs in search of aid, while Mediv uses his teleportation abilities to send Garona back to Stormwind. Garona discovers Lothar in a state of grief, consumed by alcohol and mourning the loss of Callan. She approaches him, offering support. Lothar confides in her, expressing his loss of faith and trust in Mediv. Orgrim engages in a conversation with Gul'dan, who is aware of Durotan's decision to oppose the Horde. As a result, Durotan is imprisoned, and Blackhand targets the Frostwolf clan. Gul'dan presents Orgrim with an opportunity to embrace the Fel magic, enabling him to become a more formidable orc. Khadgar takes a griffin ride to Dalaran, where he meets with disapproving elder mages. He informs them about the spreading Fel magic and Mediva's corruption. Khadgar is then introduced to Ality, an older guardian, who sought him out. Ality reveals that Mediv has been battling a demonic entity, but has now succumbed to the corruption of the Fel magic. With the assistance of Moros, Mediv is guided into his pool, which emanates a green glow infused with Fel power. In a shocking turn, Mediv absorbs the life force of Moros, causing him to undergo a transformation, adopting features resembling those of an orc. King Lane organizes a gathering aimed at forging an alliance among various factions to combat the Horde. Lothar disagrees and advocates for the destruction of the portal to halt further orc invasions into Azeroth. In the midst of the meeting, Mediv appears in his human form through teleportation, unsettling Lothar by mentioning Callan. As tensions rise, Lane decides to have Lothar temporarily confined in a cell to allow him time to regain composure. Orgrim comes to the realization of his mistake and covertly frees Draka and their child, named Goel, by Durotan. Afterwards, Orgrim proceeds to release Durotan from captivity. Although initially angered by Orgrim's actions, Durotan forgives him upon discovering that he allowed Draka and Goel to escape. King Lane and his troops march into the battlefield, prepared for the imminent conflict. Meanwhile, Khadgar makes a return and cunningly releases Lothar from his confinement by transforming a guard into a sheep using his magic. Khadgar then utilizes his magical abilities to strategize on how to combat Mediv. Draka brings Goel to a river and carefully places him in a basket, intending to ensure his safety. As Goel drifts away unharmed, another orc arrives on the scene. Draka fiercely attacks the orc, tearing out their throat using her teeth, but she herself is mortally wounded and impaled in the process. Durotan challenges Gul'dan to a fight in front of the other orcs. At first, Durotan seems to be winning, but Gul'dan uses his magic to drain Durotan's life energy, killing him. The other orcs get angry and turn away from Gul'dan, but he kills those who oppose him and forces the rest to stay with him. Gul'dan waits for Medivh to open the portal while using captured prisoners' life energy to keep it working. Lane and Garona's army fights invading orcs. Lothar and Khadgar battle Medivh and his clay golem. Lothar defeats the golem, but Khadgar makes it fall on Medivh. After defeating Medivh, Khadgar was almost consumed by Fel. However, he managed to prevail over the spell and emerged victorious over the force of evil magic. Medivh, who is restored but dying. Medivh changes the portal to free prisoners, while Lothar heads to the battle. They managed to free the prisoners, but when Medivh had his last breath, the portal to Stormwind closed. Now trapped and surrounded by the orcs, Blackhand is approaching to kill the king. In a desperate move for peace, Lane asks Garona to kill him. Reluctantly, she stabs him before Blackhand can attack. The orcs celebrate Garona and take her to Gul'dan. Lothar finds Lane dead and is attacked by orcs when he tries to leave with his body. After being compelled to engage in a battle against Blackhand, who had become even more formidable due to the influence of Fel magic, Lothar swiftly strikes twice, impaling Blackhand as retribution for Callan's demise. This act earns Lothar the admiration of the orcs, but Gul'dan insists that they kill him. However, Garona intervenes, urging Gul'dan to back down or risk confronting the other orcs. Consequently, Lothar is left to bear the responsibility of bringing Lane's lifeless body. Lothar presented Khadgar with Garona's dagger, convinced that she was responsible for the king's death. However, Khadgar remained skeptical and did not believe Lothar's accusation. A solemn funeral is conducted, attended by the entire kingdom, as Lane is laid to rest. Tariat delivers a poignant eulogy for her late husband, then calls upon Lothar to stand before the assembled multitude, recognizing him as the new leader of the alliance. With unanimous support, the crowd rallies behind Lothar, solidifying their unwavering allegiance. In the final scene, Goel continues to drift along the river while Durotan's voice resonates, proclaiming that his son will rise as the future leader of the orcs, with the potential to bring about peace among their kind. As the scene unfolds, a man discovers Goel's basket and is met with a growl from the baby within, signifying his spirit and resilience. Thank you for watching, and I highly recommend watching the entire movie as it is incredibly enjoyable. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, so you can stay updated and receive notifications whenever we upload new videos.